Michele. On this episode, I've got a lot to talk about, and I have a special surprise. So, this is the first time that I have had a drawing on More Sewing with Michele, and I'm giving away this really cute fat quarter bundle. Now, the way that you have the potential to win this beauty is if you like, comment, share, or subscribe to the More Sewing with Michele. So go ahead and do that. And the great thing about this fat bundle for my 62nd episode is that in conjunction with the Quilt Builders Card Deck that I have today, you can make so many things. You will be ahead of the game if you are the lucky winner of this fat bundle. Now, going over the Quilt Builders Card Deck, so many things that you can do with this thing. Oh my golly, I can't wait to show you the potential that this little card deck has for you designing quilts and making spectacular blocks. And then the last thing that I want to go over real quickly today on More Sewing with Michele is, do you know about our coupon codes? Now, our coupon codes started a couple months ago, but you can use a coupon code with every single episode. And on this one, it's right here in that corner. And in that coupon code, you're going to get an additional savings off of the items that I showcased today. So use that code so that you can save a little bit more on More Sewing with Michele. And each episode, there will be a new coupon code, so check on it often and be sure to use it. So much to do, so much of the information I've already gone over. Let's get to the important part and start talking about this spectacular Quilt Builders Card Deck. So, if you were a quilter, many of us just follow patterns. You'll fall in love with a design, pick up that pattern, and go home and make it. But eventually, I feel, at least I know it was the case with me, after I did that a couple times, I wanted to create quilts that I designed with my patterns, with the blocks that I wanted to use. And I kind of stepped outside my comfort zone and started designing quilts based on the blocks that I wanted to use. And when I first started really quilting seriously, which to be honest with you, here's the funny thing. I had been on Pinterest years ago and I was flipping through and all these quilts kept coming up. And I'm like, that is the one, crafting that I had not dived into. I had basically done the gamut of all other types of crafting. So I decided that I would make a rag quilt. And I did it. And before I even finished that quilt, I was already buying fabrics for my next one. And from that moment on, I really haven't slowed down. Sometimes, I've been known to make like a quilt a week, and some of those are pretty big and pretty, designed. Now, when I first started working for Moore's, that number dropped significantly because now a lot of my free time was used working and making money to support my habit. But to this day, I quilt constantly. My machines get a workout, and I so enjoy the art of quilting and embroidery and sewing and everything that goes along with it. But I really needed for my creativity to kind of step outside of the patterns and every once in a while make something that I designed. So I started researching a little bit, and all of these funny names kept coming up. Churn dash block and broken dishes. I knew what a 9-patch was and a 4-patch, but mosaic, windmill, road to California block, a heart block. There were so many things that, when these blocks, people would mention the block, and I'm like, what the heck is, courthouse steps? And what's a pineapple block? All of these things kept coming up, and I wanted to learn them. I wanted to learn the basics and the foundations for all quilting. And if you think about it, modern quilters do things way differently than what the traditionalists did years ago. And back then, they would basically, take a design and work off of that. they often did not mix and match different quilt blocks together. To me, that's more of a modern type of quilting. But it's so much fun to take a block and mix and match. Mix and match with something that's going to create something unique and different. And I get so much joy doing this. Now, that's where this wonderful quilt card deck comes into play. If I would have had this when I first started, it would have saved me so much time because all of the research and all of the information is all right here in this box. So there are 50 cards in this wonderful Quilt Builders card deck. But there are 40 different patterns, 40 different block designs. Isn't that cool? Let me repeat. 40 different blocks in this box. You have 8 layout potential possibilities in here where they give you exact instructions to make 8 layouts. You can mix and match your blocks. And there's so much information on the cards that are included in here. There's traditional blocks as well as modern blocks as well. So 5 sizes. Let's do the math here. 5 sizes times 40 different blocks. That's 200 different quilt possibilities that you have for making a block. 200. That's pretty incredible. All contained in this wonderful box. Now, in the quilt in back of me, I used the mega size in the center, which is 36 inches. 36 inches. And then there's also a 6, 8, 10, and 12. Now, over here in this corner, this is, I think it came out as a 10-inch block. So we have 2 different blocks, and this one is different from the one over here. I did, on the small one, it's Coxie's Camp, and on the large one, I did Crow's Foot. Now, Crow's Foot has lots of Y seams. So if you are not a beginner quilter, this is also a good, stash of information in this kit that you can use. A lot of people really get scared and shy away from Y seams. I was one of them. I was petrified of them. But once you learn the technique and once you start doing them, they're not going to be difficult anymore. So this block here, with all of the Y seams, it's pretty technical. So everything from, a basic quilt block all the way up to something really technical. You're going to learn so much by using the Quilt Builders card deck. So much information. Now, in here, you get 50 cards, but keep in mind, you get 50 blocks, but you also get other things to help you along the way. And let me set up my close-up camera, and I'm going to go over some of the really important information in this wonderful Quilt Builders card deck. So I wanted to show you up close some of the information that is contained in this wonderful box. So the first thing you'll see is that we have the card decks. Once again, all the different blocks and information. And then it has information on how to use the block charts. Now in here, you will see that it has the 6, 8, 10, 12, and 36. It tells you what type of cuts you need, where you need to cut, how many blocks you need for each of those individual sizes. And on the back side, it has, on this one, information, tips, and ideas. Now, if you look at an individual block, let me pull this one out of the box here, you'll see that it has that same information, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 36. It goes over the different fabrics, so you can see there's 3 fabrics in this design. It tells you what cuts to make. It gives you the block without any color, the block with color. It shows you how to piece those blocks together. And if you look at the back, there's a full-size picture of the block. So that makes it easier to kind of design. From here you can see you're going to have one big piece, and then you're going to have just half square triangles all the way around of that middle tone color. And then you have a few of the light colors. So it really makes it easy if it's your first time trying to design a quilt, because you have all of the thing, and this one is bulk and puzzle, inside here. So So much information contained on this one little itty bitty card. I love it. And the card, like I said, it has everything in there. It really makes it easier to design at home because you have the cuts, the sizes, and you know exactly where to go. Now, let me share real quick. When I first started designing a quilt, I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. And I got some graph paper and I drew out this beautiful quilt design with two different types of blocks. And then I cut my fabric to size and then I start quilting. And then when I put it together, things didn't line up because I was so fresh and new that I forgot about the seam allowances. So things were kind of cockeyed. In here, you're going to have all that information. It gives you the exact sizes. You're not going to have the problems that I had when I first started to design quilts. So on here, let's go back to this area here. You'll see that it shows you how to line things up. This is one of the designs where you would take 4 blocks and then add that. And on the back, it has the on point challenge. So it's going to give you some information on quilting on point. And then yardage, information that we all need to know. If we're doing something and we need so many, this will tell you for each square how much yardage to buy. On the back, it gives the yardage for the rectangles. So very cool. This gives yardage for quilt backing, so you can figure out if your quilt is 56 by 66, you know that you're going to need 3.5 yards for your backing. Now keep in mind, I love to buy backing that is 105-inch wide. So that's not going to be for that. This is for a traditional quilt size, which is about 42 inches wide. So, but I love that all that information is right there on that card. And then corner alignment. It gives you information for corner alignment and sewing half square triangles, how to sew them together. It talks about dog ears. And then, oh my golly, that quilt in back of me, the mega blocks. We have the mega blocks, and it goes over a grid for that, showing you how to have one just in the center and then add your sashing. And then it also shows you bookend layouts where you can do some really cool things. Look at that up close. Isn't that neat? All those different blocks. This is one of the ones that I think everyone should make if they buy this card deck, because this little beauty is going to be so much fun, and everyone's is going to be different because of the different blocks they choose. Way cool. And then we have a frame layout where it shows you the frame layout and the sides, as well as a color bar layout, which is really cool too, with additional ones. Alternating layout. Now look at this one up close. This one would be super cool. Like this one, they have a few stars. There are so many stars in this set. It would be cool to make a block just with star blocks, all of them being different. Way cool. And on the back of this one, it has a basic layout showing you how to use different ones to make just fun and informational designs. And this is with one block all the way down. So really cool. And then the mega baby quilt. Probably one of those things, babies are always in style. It doesn't matter what we do, they're always going to be coming. So having a basic mega block that you can put together in a very short amount of time for a baby shower that's coming up is going to be pretty cool. And with baby quilts, traditionally, like on this star here, if you had some baby fabrics, you could use, solids, you could use just a slight pattern, you could use gingham, tone-on-tones. But what I love to do is find out what their color palette is for the baby, and find out if they have a design or a like for the baby. So if they're going to do a jungle theme, if they're going to do teddy bears, if they're going to do, Hello Kitty, it doesn't matter what it is, find out that, and then often you will find those fabrics in the fabric stores, and then use that for some of the star blocks. So that way it incorporates something for the baby, but it also is something that they can utilize in their nursery. So cool and so much fun. So that's basically some of the information cards. Now I want to show you, here are some of the traditional quilt blocks. This is the flower basket. We have Jacob's ladder, Old Tippy Canoe, Old Maid's Puzzle, Dutch Rose. So those ones are pretty cool that you have all the information contained in these cards to make those. And keep in mind, 5 sizes. Now, one of the first things that I did when I first started designing quilts, I was taking a class and the teacher was teaching us different stars. And then I made a big old quilt. It's actually king size for my bed with all the different stars. And to this day, it's either on my bed or on the railing at the foot of the bed. And I love it because of all the different stars. It was a foundation thing. It taught me those different patterns. And I absolutely love it. And that's why, and stars, to me, star blocks are so catching and they're pleasing to the eye. And because they have the squares, you know, sometimes they have curved elements, but they used half square triangles and flying geese. So they're a foundation type thing that you should learn too. So let me go over some of the star blocks that I have here. We have Diamond Star. We have Mosaic number 19, which is a star block. We have Square on Star, Constellation, Double Sawtooth, which look, that's a star inside of a star. And then we have Sparkling Star. So those are just some of them, because keep in mind, some of the blocks that I made that I haven't shown you yet include starred patterns too. So those are some of the different ones that come in here. Now I want to show you real quickly some of the ones that I made. So this one here, let me get it on camera. There we go. This is heart. And once again, you can make this heart in 5 sizes, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 36. So such a fun block. And who, you know, if you're a quilter, hearts come in handy no matter what you're doing. Now this one, let me get it on camera here. This one is a 9-patch variation. So normal 9 patches, whoops, I got some threads on here. Whoops, we're not going to pull that. It's pulling the whole thing out. Normal 9 patches are equal size squares, but this one's a variation. So the 9-patch variation, and once again, you get those sizes, and look how fun it is. All the different sizes, it tells you what to cut for each thing, and then you also have the basic card once again on the back that gives you the different layouts. This is probably, it's a little bit more advanced, but one of the easiest blocks in here where you can get some pretty different looks to it based on the fabrics. On this one, I used some of my leftover Star Wars quilt that I made for my kids for Christmas, and then just added this wonderful batik in the opposite areas. So love that block. Now, I have, this one is called Mosaic number 5. Once again, pretty striking. 3 colors of fabric on here. I just fibbed. 4 colors of fabric on here. So, but you could do 3. You could actually have these 2 be the same. So once again, Mosaic number 5. And then we have, this is one of the traditional quilt blocks that has been around forever. This one is Broken Dishes. So it's one of those ones that I think you need to know because it is often brought up time and time again. If you're making a quilt, they may say, you know, make broken dishes blocks. And then I've also done lots of them where they have flying geese on the corners. Now this one is one of those ones that looks really difficult, but it's not. It's called Mosaic, and it's basically just half square triangles, and each half square triangle is laid out in a different area. So not a difficult one to make. Once again, this is Mosaic. And then this is probably one of my favorites that I made, and this one is called Windmill. So love Windmill. I love the striking balance of the black and white and the yellow here. So Windmill. And then we have Old Windmill. So new windmill and old windmill. This is Old Windmill. And then everyone should know this, especially if you go to the quilt show here in California. This is the Road to California block. So Road to California block, which is basically a bunch of flying geese with just some basic blocks in between. So love that block, Road to California. There's what it looks like in the back. This one is one of the ones that I love to make. I don't know why, but I love Churn Dash. I think it's a striking block, depending upon your fabrics and what you do. It can really be an interesting block to use if you're using it in a border, in a sashing, or also focal blocks. So Churn Dash, and once again, look at all that information on that card. And then we have Jewel's Box. Now, Jewel's Box looks really difficult again, but it's basically 4 patches with half square triangles, and on these wonderful cards, you get all the information. All the detailed stuff is for what you need to cut and how to put it together. Jewel Box. So those are that. Now, what I want to show you next is we have one block that is made in all of the different sizes. So let me show you that next. So, as promised, this is here the Star Puzzle block. And I'm going to show you all of the 5 sizes. So the first one is our 6-inch block. Look how cute that is. And then we have our 8-inch block. Now, an amazing sewer, Rhonda Berg, made these blocks for me of all the different sizes. And you will see, this is the 10-inch. That she deliberately played around with where the lights and the dark fabrics go. So it really makes these blocks look totally different. But truth be told, they're the same exact block, just different fabrics. So this is our 12-inch block. Look how cute that is. And then, as promised, the mega block. Now the mega block I'm going to have to back up on. This is 36 inches. And we have the mega block. Isn't that cool? And then let me step out of the way. So this is the mega block for the one that I did. And you can see, I don't know if I can even get the whole quilt in there. But I did a play on black and white for that quilt. But you can see with all of these different options of these quilt blocks, sizes, and all of the different fabrics that we have, you can get some pretty striking differences from that one quilt block, the Star block. Now, I know you've fallen in love with this Quilt Builder's card deck, and you know what to do. And don't forget to use your coupon code this month. So, you're going to want to go to moors-sew.com, where you can pick up the Quilt Builder's card deck for today. And you can also click on the link in the description and go to the More Sewing with Michele landing page where you can get this as well. Don't forget, moors-sew.com. Oh my golly, what a lot of information, all from this wonderful product, the Quilt Builder's card deck. 40 blocks, 200 different possibilities, 8 different layouts included, all the information you need for cutting, for putting it together. This is one mighty little box. And for designing blocks or also just learning the different blocks out there, it is a wonderful tool for any sewer. Now, I want to thank you for taking time and hanging out with me on More Sewing with Michele. But also, do not forget that we have a drawing this time. Like, comment, share, and also subscribe. And you have the possibility of winning this. And you're going to want to check back on that Friday where we will announce the winner. I hope you've had a great time today. I sure have. And I look forward to our next episode of More Sewing with Michele. Until then, happy stitching, everyone, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.